Okay, this is a continuing series from earlier where I was talking about the practical witch. So a practical witch is someone who does witchy things. And if you want to be practical as a witch, then what would be an impractical witch be? Impractical witch would be I don't know. You have to look it up in the dictionary. Okay, next question. How many times do you assume a person is not at all what they seem to be? Do you ever figure that people are honest 100% of the time? If you feel this way, then you are trying to figure out practical ways of using witchcraft when you're among crafty people. And people who are cunning, and people who also study the animal kingdoms to see animal behaviors, and people who might even study things like the animal behavior of predation. That is, one animal species feeding on another animal species. And then using those particular methods from the animal kingdom to rule humanity using the power of force. Very sharp canine teeth on a tiger with an enormous amount of muscle to squeeze jaws together and bite your head off was sometimes told to us as being something you could maybe witness in Las Vegas, Nevada, where there was I don't know if I think they did though. I think they did. Siegfried and Roy were famous tiger, a tiger act. So it was two men, and Siegfried and Roy, and I think they had two cats, two white lions maybe, and I'm sorry, I never saw them there. The best I could give you was maybe they advertised something about the show once, so you might have had a commercial on TV. But anyways, the whole point is that if you are a practical witch, you're looking to defend yourself against unfortunate circumstances. And basically what you want to do is you just try to design the life you want based upon what you want. And then you have some people that are there's a Common Ground magazine, at least it used to be published in Vancouver, or Shared Vision. Those two magazines were known as forward-thinking magazines, and we might have had some articles in the Shared Vision or Common Ground in the back pages in the classifieds. It was delivered free to everybody in Vancouver. If you wanted one, you just went to the corner, and usually there was like a box where you could pick it up. And that's what they would give you, and the back pages is like specialty items. And this would be one of those specialty items. Core Belief Engineering was the name of the business. Core, C-O-R-E, Belief Engineering. So the idea of pretty much what they were saying is, do you want your core beliefs to be re-engineered so they work better for you? With the idea that what you believe, it's held in mind, and that's what comes to pass. So if you're going to Core Belief Engineering, and I'm not an employee of them, but you went to somebody in the back pages of the Shared Vision or the Common Ground magazine, and it was a private company where you could go and you could learn and have somebody help you, an expert help you change the way that fix it all up for you so that it would pass a safety test. And if this is what's going on with Core Belief Engineering, we always want to remind you that we are in search of the insufferables in our lives, and we're searching for a way to make them exit our lives. So, okay, back to practical witching. You don't want to be caught in one of these enormous wars. A war that's Star Wars in character, multiple worlds in multiple times, multiple dimensions. It's like you don't want to be lost in one of these war games. So you want that whole thing to exit your reality. How are you going to do that? How are you going to really be able to change your belief that Star Wars are possible? Because if it's still active in your mind, whatever that part of the mind is that outpictures as your current reality, it makes this whole idea of you being able to figure it out using these kind of techniques, because even if you develop a technique, you're still making a judgment about this is better than that. And most people would say, well, going to Walmart and getting groceries today is preferable to me being a baby tortured for her adrenochrome through a QAnon policy of there's like vampires and baby eaters in Hollywood kind of B-movie idea that somehow that's real. So you're still looking to be practical about how to avoid all of this drama. It's like, I can barely get my head around what I just said. But some people are so well developed in this area, they built supercomputers, quantum computers, to study this. And then, question mark, do they have the ability to mind control you by remote control? Or do they have mind control native to their species? Some kind of maybe superhuman, maybe there was a genetic breeding program by the Nazis. They did. It was known that they took young people and they bred babies for like Nazi Germany. They wanted to rebuild all of their armed forces. They need lots more humans, so we ought to make lots of babies. So yeah, these ideas as a practical witch become too vast, and I think a supercomputer would probably come to its limits of what it could predict, given it was playing against infinity itself. So what's a good way of being a practical witch? Well, somebody might say the safest thing is to be a healing witch. But a healing ministry will sometimes be considered the flip side of someone causing disease to another. So they might say, well, this is two ends of a pole, and we've got to unify the pole into unity consciousness, and they just slipped you a Mickey Finn. Mickey Finn is an illegal drug put into an alcoholic drink that knocks you right out. And that's what you have to consider as a practical witch. Is, you know, like, have I been told something and it's in part of my belief structure, but is it like somehow a distortion of truth? I mean, it works so well, a leg hold trap. If you're a trapper and you're trapping animals for their furs, well, we were told it was used in a more primitive age than we have today. And that was but it could be looked on the cruel factor. Anyway, the leg hold trap was an instrument of torture to the animal.